What if humanity's biggest threat isn't aliens, asteroids, or AI, but mosquitoes? Welcome back to Infinity Beyond, where today we dive into a shocking and controversial topic: how modern science is rewriting the laws of nature and possibly putting the future at risk. Let's rewind to a seemingly small yet deadly problem: malaria-carrying mosquitoes. Every year, this tiny insect is responsible for over 500,000 deaths globally. But what if we could genetically eliminate them? Enter the bold new world of gene drive technology. Gene drive is a method of genetic engineering that forces a particular trait to be passed on to all offspring, overriding the usual 50-50 inheritance of genes. This isn't science fiction. This is happening now. The goal? Eliminate deadly mosquito populations by altering their genetics so they can only produce male offspring. Since only female mosquitoes bite and reproduce, the population could collapse in just a few generations. The result? A world without malaria, and perhaps without mosquitoes at all. Sounds like a miracle, right? But with every scientific miracle comes a dark side. Here's the ethical dilemma. Once released into the wild, gene drives can't be undone. They spread through a population rapidly, even aggressively. What begins in one corner of the Earth could reach ecosystems across the globe, changing not just one species, but potentially the entire balance of life. Mosquitoes, as much as we despise them, are part of a complex food chain. Birds, fish, and bats all rely on them as a food source. Remove them, and the ripple effects could be massive and irreversible. And it doesn't stop with mosquitoes. The technology could, in theory, be applied to any living organism: rodents, weeds, invasive species, even humans, in the wrong hands. Editing DNA on this scale could create entirely new species or eliminate existing ones, all depending on who controls the gene. There's a chilling thought: we might be one step away from designing or destroying life at will. Proponents of gene drive argue that its benefits are undeniable. Eradicating malaria, stopping Lyme disease, controlling invasive species in delicate ecosystems like islands, the potential is vast. But critics warn that we're entering uncharted territory. Unlike other forms of genetic engineering, gene drives are self-propagating. They don't just change individuals, they change populations. Entire ecosystems could shift within decades. And here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. Gene drive isn't a distant dream. It has already been tested in lab environments and in limited outdoor trials. The results are effective, shockingly effective. Mosquito populations dropped by over 90% in some experiments. But imagine a future where one small release of a genetically modified organism changes an entire region, or even the planet. No borders, no way to reverse it. Just permanent change. What's more terrifying, that we can do this, or that we might already have? International watchdog groups and scientific communities are now debating how to regulate gene drive technology. Who decides when and where it's used? Should the public have a say? Should entire nations vote before a gene is released into their environment? These are the kinds of questions that don't have easy answers, because we're the first generation in history to face them. Gene drive represents both the hope of humanity and its hubris. On one hand, it could solve problems we've faced for centuries. On the other, it could unleash consequences we haven't begun to imagine. And in a universe where we're still searching for other life, we must also ask, if we can edit life on Earth so freely, what happens when we find life elsewhere? Will we change it too? Maybe, just maybe, the question isn't, can we do this? It's, should we? Stay tuned, because in the next episodes, we'll explore how this same technology could be used to resurrect extinct species, and whether Jurassic Park might not be fiction after all.